hopefully, when all sorts of things are over the screen and I can't tell. Anyway, this is the Saturday wrap for Saturday the 9th of January 2021. I know it said 2020 there. It doesn't matter. And last week I forgot the word or the phrase of the week. It was, of course, and it should be, it was a new year, 2021. And so I don't forget this week, the word or the phrase is not a race. Mr. Drakeford said that. Someone had asked him why Wales was last in the home countries in the deployment of vaccines for coronavirus 19. He said it wasn't a race. I think he might have misunderstood. It is a race for the people who are getting it. London, the virus is out of control apparently. There's been a major incident declared. Things are looking really bad, and the way things are going at the moment, because most people seem to have given up on the lockdown, is sticking inoculations in their arms. So, yeah, probably is a race, but he seems to be far more interested in stopping you buying frying pans in Tesco's. I'm not trying to make this political, but I'm in Wales. He's the First Minister, so I don't talk a lot about Nicola Sturgeon or Bojo. Although Bojo, he really needs to comb his hair. It is completely out of control. Anyway, I'm getting off the subject, as you probably would expect. So, with the start of a new year and an end of a year, you get lots of top 10 these and sales of those and whatever. One thing caught my mind. Sales of alcohol, off license, generally speaking, shot well up. When people were locked down, they were drinking at home, increasingly, massively. And also, sales of a deodorant went right down. Yeah. So, lockdowns, drunken people at home with smelly armpits. That could probably describe 2020. Probably the way things are going 2021 as well. But who knows? Anyway, moving on. So, Monday we had Mr. Vaughan Gething, who apparently lives in Penarth, which is rather nice. Oh, forgot this. Beer. XL Pale from Exhale Brewing in Walthamstow, London. And it's got oats in it, so it's got a lovely mouthfeel. And it's a really good beer. The only thing that's spoiling it is it would be superb on a hot summer day. It's not a hot summer day. It's about +1 degree Celsius. However, in the lower Rumney Valley, we don't have rain. We are getting warmer, relatively speaking, next week, but the rain's back. What can you do? Anyway, Mr. Vague-Guessing, 12:15 on Monday, announced not very much. At 1400 hours, Sturgeon announced that Scotland was going into full lockdown, and then Bojo announced at 8 o'clock in the night that he would be announcing more lockdowns and stuff. It must have been really galling for the Welsh Assembly government, said on purpose, because they usually like to be first on locking down more things. So about 5 o'clock there was a quick message out saying schools are closed, universities closed, don't bother going back, etc. So the whole of the UK is in full lockdown. I think Northern Ireland have a curfew from 8 o'clock at night. But there you go. However, because it's bleak midwinter and it's dark and it's cold and there's nothing much to do, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, the rugby and the football are still going on. So it's elite sports, I suppose, but not all of them. So we're completely locked down apart from the football and the rugby, and with the football, like Aston Villa last not is it Aston Villa? It was Aston Villa last night. They had to put out their under 23s and their junior team because most of their first team had or were sheltering against coronavirus. Sign of the times. There you go. Right. Okay. Also, and I don't think it's snuck in, but Brexit is here. There's a piece of software that I use called Mac Updater. It's written by some people in Malta. It's very good. I coughed up for a full license. And on New Year's Day, a version 2 came out, which had lots of other features, and I was anxious to buy it. There was a bug in version 2, which meant that you could do practically everything apart from buy it. However, was it Monday or Tuesday? I went in to buy it, and there was a big thing in red saying, due to issues with, and although they didn't say it, it's the Inland Revenue, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. If you put GB as your place of residence, and I don't know if it would pick up on a UK credit card, then it'll crash because we're not ready for it and we're not registered and whatever. Now, we don't have an agreement with the United States, but that seems to work okay. So I'm working on the principle that, as with most things in life, no one's ready and there are teething problems, etc. However, it's a bit of a shame because I want to give them money and they have really good software and it keeps me up to date. I can still use it, but it just won't do the updating for me. I have to do that manually. No biggie, as they say. But it's a new world. Oh yeah. Before Christmas, Brains sold off all its pubs. And now it looks like there's redundancy talks for the Cardiff brewery. And Brains might have their beers brewed in England. I think it was stated, Brains are too big to be small and niche, and too small to be a global. Yeah, they're a regional brewer, and they're in lots of trouble. And they were never very good. They had a craft beer range. And in the pub, and it was the Brewery Tap. I can't think of it. It's on the corner of St Mary's Street and Caroline Street. It'll come back to me. Anyway, it was their craft ale pub, and they didn't sell practically zero of their own craft beers because they weren't that good. They were good at what they brewed, especially Brains Dark, but craft ale, nah. Not really. But there you go. Things change. Good things go. Who knows? Anyway, even the pubs they've sold are closed. So I have the week ahead off. I usually book this week off because of CES, I can't even say it, Consumer Electronics, or sometimes quoted as entertainment show, but is electronics show in Las Vegas, or should have been in Las Vegas. This year, it's all virtual. Now, last year and many years before it, I would go away somewhere to monitor it. Two reasons. One, you had to have press credentials to go there. And two, I couldn't really afford to go there. Prices go up, all that sort of stuff, and it's a long way to go. So, well, last year I went to Bristol, and the first place I ended up was in the Bristol Beer Factory tap. The real tap, not the barley mow. That was excellent. I wish I was there this year, to be perfectly honest, despite the fact it's absolutely freezing, but I can't, and I'll be monitoring CES again, and I usually did it from afar, and I will do it from afar this year, except that the whole thing's online. And apparently on Teams, sponsored by Azure. Azure, yeah, the blue stuff, the Microsoft stuff. Anyway, oh, yesterday, so Mr. Drakeford had another announcement. And that's where the thing about it's not a race, well, actually, that was in the morning, to breakfast television came on. But he's more concerned about large supermarkets. And he says he wants to go back to the security that they had back in March and April. I didn't want to point out to him, but back in March and April and such like, we weren't wearing masks. And yeah, how about you get on with rolling out the vaccinations? That would be good. How about you were a little bit more clear about it? You're finally on Monday going to start to release daily figures. Yeah, I'm not so bad worried about buying frying pans in Tesco's. In fact, in Tesco's, I went there in the week. They used to have certain aisles blocked off. Well, they're only semi-blocked off now, and it's up to you to make the decision. And I always work on the fine principle, go there, out of hours, there's not too many people there, get in, get out, wear your mask, etc. But now we can have lots of people queuing outside, and if the later on in the year is anything to do with, they'll be all over each other and whatever, and yeah. I say, only one person per household, you get in, you get out. Because otherwise, as with his announcement yesterday, he just announced it, he didn't say what he was going to actually do, there will be panic buying and such like. Annoying. Very annoying. And he did mention that they're trying to move the elections back from May. No, we are a democracy. We can do all this online. If schools can go online, the election can go online. Start planning it now. Don't push our freedoms away from it. And our freedoms are the freedoms to vote on who represents us, not who governs us, who represents us. He says, burbling on, getting slightly political, because I don't think any of them are that good. And yes, they went to Aldi, which didn't have any queues in it, despite Mr. Drakeford, and they were putting up all wood outside the sign outside, and I asked the lady at the till, and she said, we're being refurbished. I said, will that mean closing? So Aldi and Caerphilly are going to close. I might have to go to Lidl. I say, hats off to German supermarkets. They've changed the way we shop. Good quality stuff, reduced varieties, but reduced cost. Anyway, that's it for this week. Hopefully this has worked and it's all been streamed and such like. And I'm looking for, oh yes, I can see the button to calm it down. If you've enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you haven't. Comments, etc. Bye bye. Let's see if this one works.